This is Danny Flexen.
This is Joe Leigh.
And we're here to talk about the undisputed world title, something of a holy grail in boxing, particularly among the male side of the sport. In the last couple of years, we've seen a trend towards trying to unify more divisions. There's only two male undisputed world champions at the moment in Josh Taylor at super lightweight and Canelo Alvarez, of course, at super middle. And we thought it'd be good to go through some of the divisions and talk about which ones were most likely to have an undisputed king. And all due respect to George Kambosos, we do recognise Devin Haney as the WBC lightweight champion, which means we cannot consider him undisputed, regardless of franchise titles and so on. So yeah, two at the moment, and who will end 2022 as an undisputed champion in the men's division? Because I know there's plans afoot to create a lot more female undisputed champions by the end of this year.
Yeah, that's it. Let's. Where should we start? Should we go from? We can start at heavyweight.
So will we see an undisputed heavyweight champion in 2022?
This is probably the most unlikely thing, just because of politics. We could probably talk about it a lot in this video, and the reason why there hasn't been understated for so long. But will we see undisputed heavyweight? No, I don't think so. Usyk and Fury should be the fight that's made. Obviously, it's not getting made. But for me, if it's going to happen, it would be... I think, to be fair, how does that even happen in 2022?
I think if whoever wins the rematch between Usyk and Joshua, Fury gets past White, if that happens, then they meet. But then I think the other mandatories will start to be pressed.
That is just, it's so far from happening. Because think about how realistic a fight with Joshua and Fury was, and that never happened. So undisputed when in the same year as Fury White, and Joshua Usyk, which is a big fight for both guys. Yeah, it seems so unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you give it a slight edge over any of the other weight classes is that one person's already got more than one belt. But
yeah,
you look at Cruiserweight, which is obviously next down on the list, it's fragmented. There's 4 different champions. Although I guess at the start of 2021, there were 4 different super middleweight champions.
That's a good
Canelo
point.
Managed to unify that division. But he's Canelo, and he kind of can do what he wants.
Exactly. He can cherry pick who he wants, and people will say yes to whatever he's up for, and that's exactly what he did. He had such a good year, and to be fair, I'm not complaining at all, because this is what we need: more undisputed fighters. Will
he still be the undisputed super middleweight champion by the end of this year?
I highly doubt it. I think if the most likely, it could be Cruiserweight, and who knows imagine if he could be undisputed in 2 weight classes in 2 years. That would just be insane. I think it's highly unlikely. He could obviously fight.
He'd have to have 4 fights, wouldn't he? Unless some of the other cruiserweight champions unify.
Yeah, exactly.
4 fights in the year, all for world titles. I just can't see it happening.
So if he was to fight Makabu, obviously Makabu's got a scheduled fight at the end of the month. But if he was going to fight Makabu, say in summer, while Coley fights Breedis in summer, and then obviously nearer the end of the year, but I think it's more likely because of how we saw it happen in 2021. But with obviously Coley calling for the Breedis fight for a while now, it still hasn't happened. As Isaac Chamberlain said, he wants to fight with Breedis as well. So who knows? But I think it is possible, because like I say, we saw it in 2021. You never know. Would you have said at the start of last year that Canelo would be undisputed by the end?
No, not necessarily. So, it's whether the fights can be made more than whether he could beat everyone. But I think welterweight and light middleweight are both chances there. I think welterweight, Ugas and Spence have got a fight scheduled. That'll be for 3 belts. And then it's whether Crawford can be made against the winner, given he's not with Top Rank anymore.
Yeah, Crawford, Spence. I don't see that happening in 2022, if ever. Do you?
Well, that's if Spence beats Ugas. I mean, Ugas, I'd make him a live opponent in that fight.
Definitely.
I think if Ugas were to beat Spence, I think it'd be, pretty likely that he would fight Crawford, and we'd see a 4-belt fight. But if Spence wins and he's the favourite, they've been trying to make. Well, I don't know who's been trying to make it, but the fans have certainly wanted Spence and Crawford for a long time, and it hasn't come to fruition.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not writing Ugas off. Obviously, if you beat Pacquiao, albeit at the end of his career, quite literally, then you're going to be remembered as a real top quality fighter. However, Errol Spence is a higher level than Ugas, in my opinion. I think he does come through that, but the only way, in my opinion, we see that is if Ugas wins. If we were to see undisputed welter, I think.
Super welter maybe the most likely. Castano and Jamel Charlo. There's been talks that that's almost confirmed now. The rematch for all 4 major world titles at 154 pounds, and then it's just whether the winner, if there is a winner this time, hopefully not another draw, whether the winner can keep hold of all 4 belts by the end of the year. But I think that's probably the most likely, because obviously Josh Taylor's got Catterall. I do expect him to come out with the belts after that, but then I think he might give them up and move up in weight. So I think super welter 154. I think that's probably the most likely.
Yeah, I agree with you. Can't disagree with that.
So you got them. I'm trying to think going down the weights. Lightweight. Now, obviously, lightweight's not far off being really undisputed, and Kambosos has signalled his willingness to fight Haney. I think Haney wants it too. How confident are we that that comes together?
I believe Eddie Hearn truly wants that fight. I think he gets on with Kambosos as well and wants to make that fight. Obviously, Devin Haney's his boy. And you can kind of tell that he gets Haney to say certain things on Twitter back and forth to people, sometimes empty threats. Haney's been back and forth with, seems like, everyone in the lightweight division about 100 times now. But this Kambosos one looks like it has the most weight behind it. Obviously, we saw them kind of come face to face the week after Kambosos' fight for, who was that? Who was fighting the week after Kambosos? Oh, it was Devin. It was, yes, it was it was Haney Diaz. And I think they both want it. I think this one is also likely, and with Eddie behind it, I could see that happening definitely. I don't know whether it'd be in Australia, but ideal for Kambosos Jr.
I think featherweight can make strides towards it, but I don't think he'll get there this year. I think the winner of Conlon Wood could easily face the winner of Martinez Warrington 2 in the UK. That could easily be made for the summer, but that's still only 2 belts. Gary Russell Jr. tends to fight once a year at most, and he's got a fight scheduled for later this month. So he might not be out again until 2023. Let's hope that's not the case, but again, with PBC, it might be hard to match him against rival promoters, fighters as well. So I'm not overly kind of hopeful of that. Super Bantam, again, doesn't look close to anything happening there in terms of unifying belts. What about Bantam? How many's Inoue got? Go on, consult Box Rec.
Yeah.
One of us needs to. I think he's got 2, hasn't he? 2 or 3. And Donaire, who he fought previously, he's got one of them now as well, the WBC.
Yeah, he's got the WBA and IBF, the Super WBA, obviously. I don't see it happening, but what a fight he is. I don't see
the rematch with Donaire. That'd be for 3 belts.
Yeah.
Who's got the WBO? Who's WBO bantamweight champion at the moment? I'll have a look.
Is it?
Let's work this out. This is gripping viewing for people. Donaire. Oh, Casimero.
What's
the latest with, he beat Zolani Tete, didn't he, for it?
Yeah.
And he was supposed to defend against Paul Butler recently. Obviously, couldn't make weight out in Dubai. So that'd be an interesting one, because Casimero, he's worked with Top Rank before, who Donaire's with, and Inoue. So they're all kind of under similar banners. I'm not sure if Casimero, he's not a Top Rank fighter, but he has worked with them in the past. So maybe we could see those 3 get together at some point. I don't know, asking them to do it within a year might be a bit of an ask, but
yeah, it's a similar one. That's why I'm kind of, if any, I think you just say Canelo, because he can just handpick whoever he wants, and it makes everything, the process, easier with the big name that he has and the bandwagon behind it.
Well, similarly, if he wanted to drop down to super middle after his fight with Mugabe, he could just say, well, I want to keep all the belts, and I'm sure they'd relax the mandatory obligations.
So what's the latest with that?
I think it's still happening. Maybe like date and venue will be subject to change because of everything that's going on, but I think he still intends to fight for the WBC.
And in terms of the super middleweight? Is he just keeping all the belts?
I don't think anyone's pressuring him to give him up. That's the thing. Everyone wants the Canelo as their champion, don't they? So there's no real pressure of him to give him up. I guess he'll test the water up at cruiserweight and then maybe drop back down to super middle or light heavy, maybe, if he thinks that suits him better. But yeah, everyone just has to wait in line. But yeah, so he might be like the second favourite to end the year with all 4 belts still. I don't know.
So what are we going top 3 then?
I think
I'm gonna
154 is the definite number 1.
Yeah, I'll have 154, and then I'll say lightweight, and then cruiser.
Lightweight and cruiser. I think there's too much to do at cruiser. I think lightweight's a good number 2, and then it's either welter or bantam for me. I think bantam because I think they've all shown a willingness to face each other. Yeah, or at least 2 of the 3 have. So far, I just think welter's too much of a push because we've looked for that fight for so long and it hasn't happened. If Ugas wins, then I think there's more of a chance. But yeah, I would say bantam 3rd.
Yeah, I think I'd have heavyweight probably bottom and then welter above that. Unfortunately, it's just how it is.
I don't know much about strawweight or light flyweight, I've got to say, but
yeah, I'm not too
sure. Bottom as well.
But I mean, there's not as much competition, so I guess it's more likely when there's.
I mean, Superfly, they've all faced each other at some point as well, so that makes it more likely. You've got obviously Chocolatito Estrada rematch, Sarissa Ket Quadras are going for the vacant WBC as well. So
Sonny Edwards wants to fight Martinez as well, doesn't he? He's trying to push
flyweight,
He's trying to push that fight. So
I think that's a great mesh of styles. I know that's not really what we're talking about in this video, but I think Edwards Martinez is the quintessential, slick boxer, counterpuncher against the aggressive, exciting power puncher.
Everyone gets onto Sonny Edwards for his style, but I don't know what it is about him. I think it's quite exciting. Not exciting, I guess you wouldn't say exciting, but it's entertaining to watch. It's just the sweet science.
I think it's because he destroys people on social media as well.
Yeah,
I don't think people take too kindly to being absolutely humiliated. But what can you say? You what is it? You go for the king, you best not miss. So.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, that diversion aside, that's our views on the undisputed status in boxing in 2022. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we will respond to the ones we can. Yeah. And let's hope for a great year of boxing in 2022.